verse 2. That's why I think maybe we figured out why you're like, how is it that you really listen to this music all the time? Well, you're looking at the same thing, but you think you're looking at the same thing, but you're getting the same sensation off of it, different, the lights hit it different. Yeah. But I love that 1 through 4. I do it all the time. Wants to bring me down. I mean, love it. Simple, but it works. It's like playing video games where you're fighting, just hitting A. Sometimes you can win that way. Piss someone off if you win that way. Hello, Laura.
Hi, my name is Jordan.
Jordan, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's funny because I started my Berklee career in fall 2008 when you came and gave us the Inspiration Information Clinic.
Information, yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Thank you.
And now I'm ending my Berklee career this semester in May.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm a songwriting major. So I've been through the Pat Pattisons, I've been through the Livingston Taylors, and I'm all ready to get into the industry.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, what is your advice on a songwriter, just making them move out to LA to be,
Why not do it? Are you looking for me to tell you, would it be easier, like, are you expecting me to tell you, do you want me to tell you yes or no?
No, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm really confident in my songs. I just was wondering, what's your best advice for just, like, getting into the industry?
Just go. Go and you'll find it. I don't think it's the kind of thing where you got to get in with this person or that person. It sounds like it's a hotel cafe stint for 6 months. Do a Wednesday night, Tuesday night at 9 o'clock for 45 minutes. Hand the stage off to someone else and just keep doing that. LA's a really difficult place to make it, but when you do make it, it seems to me, from what I know from my friends, it's really great. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't try, because the people who have that LA life are like, they basically go from studio. Sean Hurley, the bass player I work with, always doing gigs, always. The guy's got a family and kids, and he's got his car, his Audi, and he's driving to and from the studio. I feel like making it in LA is like the ideal life, because you're making music and you also have the sun. What's that? Did you just heckle LA? I don't know if you know this, but I am not in the Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles. So I hold no vested interest. I would say go for it. Go for it. And when it comes to being a songwriting major, just don't be afraid to be less clever than you know how to be. That's really it. Your maximum cleverness should not be used all the time. The cleverness that you've learned is there now as a supply of cleverness that need not always be maximized on everything. Third person cleverness, I want to hear how you feel, That's when it says, when you hear like, my life would suck without you, you go, yeah. The best one I ever heard was, I will remember you, will you remember me? Done. There. We'll be sorry there one Sunday night, but it always been, I will remember. Would you have let yourself write, I will remember you, will you remember me? Would you have ever walked that in? Would you have?
I do write a lot of just straight up pop songs, so I probably would have.
Would you have been able to write, given your major and your qualifications, I will remember you, will you remember me?
No.
Why? It's too simple. It doesn't make you feel right. It doesn't feel, well, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And the truth is, I miss you. And the truth is, I miss you. Done. I'm getting shivers. Your maximum height, the maximum speed that you can play a guitar at, the maximum chord progression that you can, the maximum number of chords you can put in a turnaround, that's the maximum. Then you start getting, then it gets really fun. I would say, which I shouldn't really be saying because I don't really know what it is, like your specific angle of writing, but when it comes to being a professionally trained songwriter, the gut. Try one that's just so, by your standards, so dumb you can't imagine that anybody would resonate with it. I promise you people will be calling it out every time we play a show. My friend David Ryan Harris, who's one of the greatest. His record inspired me before I ever met him, that it's unbelievable. He's one of the greatest writers I've ever heard, greatest singers I've ever heard. And we had a conversation one time, and I think he said to me, like, I'm going to try one like you do. And he wrote it, and it goes, pretty girl, you don't see what a spell your sweet love has cast on me. And for him, writing Pretty Girl seems remedial. But you have to learn how to write below your maximum potential. Your maximum potential is just there to establish a ceiling. I can play Madison Square Garden, but I'm also going to play Hotel Cafe again. It just means you can play the garden, but you can also play everything up into that. So that means that you can go as high, if not higher, than your most clever song. But that is just the ceiling, and everything else exists somewhere in there. And that gets really fun when you start realizing, wow, people come up and say, thank you for the one that I really wasn't sure about. You know? So, well, good luck out there.
Thank you for coming back to Berklee.
Thank you for having me again.
Like, Jordan, I was also at that clinic last time. I don't have my red Blues jacket like I did last time, but I do have a blues question and a second question.
Yeah.
First question is, what is your favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan album?
Oh, well, you know, I don't like to pick posthumous albums as favorite albums because I don't really believe in posthumous albums. If you know how hard you work on a record to put it out, you're like, yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to listen to something I didn't finish. So I'm going to say, like, Couldn't Stand the Weather is my jam. Yeah. Tone's the best tone, best tunes. I feel like Couldn't Stand the Weather is very similar to Axis Bold as Love by Jimi Hendrix, where it's the second album, and they're comfortable enough, but they're not messed up enough by the world that would be handed to them through what they did. So that second record is always like The Empire Strikes Back album. It's darker, a little moody, you know what I mean? A little more ghostly, but so much more beautiful. And then for a lot of these guys, their life was not as fun on their third album, you know? And there's something about that second record. Jimi Hendrix' Axis Bold as Love is one of the best records I've ever heard in my life because you hear his joy. And he didn't have joy after that very much. And that was the moment where he lived his dream. And I feel like Couldn't Stand the Weather is the moment where Stevie lived his dream, where he was like, wow, this is really fun being Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then there always comes a moment where you go, this is not very fun. And luckily, for me, I have not had crazy arcs. I don't do drugs. Mine are, was I in the mood? That's not the worst thing in the world, you know? So, yeah, I would say Couldn't Stand the Weather.
Second question is, I feel like you're in an interesting position in which you're one of the last artists to break into the industry before the advent of social media with YouTube,
That's right.
Twitter, and Facebook, and all
Surfed
that.
on it, yeah.
And I think you touched on before on things that everyone's talking about how things are changing. You touched before on how things are the same, and how there are certain things that I was wondering if you could share any more insight on that, and how we can kind of take that and combine that kind of older perspective with.
The rules are the rules. And the rules we're talking about, practice hard, practice longer than anyone else, train your brain to focus for large clips of time. See how many paragraphs you can read in an article before you turn the page. You know, take that test for a minute. How long am I going to use? When's the last time I heard a whole record? When's the last time I heard a whole song? And you start to realize that your brain, like mine was, is narrowing in terms of the bandwidth of what it accepts as a chunk of information. And that's the scary part. That's where rules are rules. So as soon as I plugged that up and I went, I'm not going to ask myself anymore, what are some good tweets I can throw up? Everything goes into the record. And I didn't put my laptop in the studio. I got a new phone number. Phone never rings. I have no friends. Everyone knows I'm in the studio. Nobody's going, hey, come out, meet me there. I go in the studio and I stay there until I look up and then I watch. I'll be there for 8, 10 hours, take 2 breaks to eat, 3 breaks to pee, and I don't look up. And I wouldn't have done that and I didn't do that the last record. That's why my last record is not my favorite record. But you write where you're coming from, and you make the record in the life that you have. And I realize I'm tweeting, I'm blogging, I'm looking around for other things that are advantageous to nothing. You know, to having a golf class on Twitter. You know, and I'm not putting Twitter down. Twitter's great to use once you have a thing to tweet about. You know, so everybody go home and ask yourself, what is my unit of focus? Is it 10 minutes? 20 minutes? Because I got my unit of focus now.